Hey everyone, how's it going? I don't have a lot of time. I guess this week I'm not going to get to 2 videos a week, Monday through Friday. I had a rental unit on the market, got it rented out, and then got called up this morning. So instead of moving in on February, I need to move in now. Like, oh, well, wish you would have told me that because I could have finished this stuff up over the weekend for sure. In a day, maybe two. Probably two because of just some things needing to, like some things being painted and having it time to dry. But anyways, just running around, just trying to get this all done last minute, making duplicate keys and blah, blah, blah. Bunch of piddly little stuff, but stuff that needs to be done nonetheless. And so I just don't have time to do it. And then this Friday is whenever I get together with the fellas and we hang out all day and just make fun of each other, name call and harass, and just kind of have fun and do what guys do. Anyways, I saw this video with Tim Pool. For the most part, I really like what he says, especially whenever it comes to anything dealing with lying, especially with the media, because it's like he finds this stuff and he gets onto it. But whenever it comes to his conspiracy theory nonsense, it's like you're Looney Tunes with this stuff. It's like, and he'll say sometimes that some of this stuff is hyperbolic, but it's like, no, you just don't have a clue. So I'm going to bring this down and tone this down a little bit. But first, I always appreciate a thumbs up and a like for any video that you got a little something out of. And it would really help me out if you subscribe and become a member. And before we get into it, my fasting got destroyed this weekend. I did a 5-day fast, Monday through Friday. I still ate a little bit. It was under 500 calories, except for Friday. I broke it, I guess, about midday Friday, and it's because I just had things to do, and it's like, yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm kind of feeling all right. And the next time, I just feel like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to do this again, feel even better. But on Friday for the game night, we usually eat and just kind of, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I for this week, I'm just going to eat once a day, and then next week there should be nothing. So I'm just going to fast again Monday through Friday. I went from 181 down to 175. I lost 6 pounds, and I gained like 3 pounds back. But I knew that too. I talked about how whenever I go run more than 6 miles, that'll happen. I'll lose several pounds, but then whenever I come back, just drinking water will do it, and I'll gain quite a bit of that back. So it's not a surprise. But as long as I keep doing it, and I just push myself down and more, because what will happen is that this is kind of where my body maintains, and then I'll push down, but my maintenance weight won't go down. But if I push down further, then this will come down a little bit too. And so if I'll keep pushing this down, this will go down until I'm kind of where I want to be. At least that's been my experience with the 50 pounds that I've lost so far. So anyways, with Tim Pool here, it's like we're going to watch a little bit of it, talk about it, and I'm going to show you why this is just nonsense with this.
Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States.
We're going to speed this up. This is just taking too long. And he's right. This is stupid with what she said. It's like I'm going to forget January 6th completely. There are some dates that I remember, like Y2K, whenever the year 2000 rolled around, and supposedly all the computers were supposed to quit and stop working because they didn't know how to roll over from 1999 to 2000. Then whenever it happened, absolutely nothing happened at all. It's like, what? You thought that nobody knew how to deal with something like that? Or are you out of your mind? But they made a big deal out of it. And then the same thing later, whenever the Mayan calendar ended, it's like, oh, it's going to be the end of the world. Or maybe that civilization was just old as dirt. They've been extinct and not around for, what, a couple of 100 years or something like that. It's like, how far in the future were they supposed to go? It's like, it's stupid, you know? And so the end of the Mayan calendar came around, and it was like, no doomsday stuff. It's like, anyways, Randy. Or as the Brits, I think it's waffling, is what they call it.
Said that January 6th is a day that will live in infamy. You will never forget where you were, just like Pearl Harbor, just like statement and say it's nonsensical.
Yeah.
There are many people who believe it. And January 6th of this year, my studio was swatted just last week.
And he makes a claim that he thinks it's kind of political because he had Marjorie Taylor Greene on it. And I didn't know anything about her. I watched that and she seemed all right. I think she said some bad things whenever she was younger before she got into office. And it's like, my opinion on all that is that, no. It's like you're expecting this perfect utopia where you think everybody's just going to do everything perfect all the time. And it's like, grow the hell up. This isn't magic fairy tale land of strawberry shortcake and flying unicorns. And it's like, people screw up. I don't fault anyone for that. It's like there's this thing going around with Joe Rogan where he's all pissed off at CNN and the fake news because they took one of his tweets, I think it was, whenever he said that he got sick with my coronavirus and showed them all green, and he reposted the original one and did a comparison, and it was like, no, they clearly changed it. CNN, was it CNN or ABC or one of them, where it's like, no, that is not what the original looked like at all. It's obviously been messed with. And they will throw in this little statement whenever they're commenting about this. It's like, well, I really like them, but I don't agree with everything that they say. It's like, yeah, no kidding. Thanks a lot there, Captain Obvious. It's like, you know, I don't agree with Joe Rogan or Tim Pool with everything either, but I listen to them because I don't believe that they're intentionally lying to me. I think they're dumb as dirt whenever it comes to some things, just like with Tim Pool with this, but I don't think he's being malicious about it. Now, I'm not a Tim Pool expert. Maybe he is, and maybe he's some kind of sellout, or he's doing it for the views and it's clickbait stuff. Could be. But definitely, maybe with that stuff. But whenever it comes to him talking about how fake news CNN is, it's like, no, it's like that's been his spiel for a long time, and he calls them out constantly. Whenever he talks about that stuff, I'm really interested in that. I really like that. Whenever it comes to this stuff, though, it's like, no, I don't see this at all. You're just in la la land. Same thing with Joe Rogan. So it's like, no, my grandparents, she was 16 and he was 21 whenever they got married, which was just, you know, that's the way that it was. People just, the further back you go in time, the younger they tended to be, and that was because the lifespan wasn't the same as it is today. But they did live long lives. They stayed married until he was 91. So that was 70 years of marriage, tore all up. And they definitely disagreed on stuff. But if you were to ever expect anyone to be able to be on the same page with another person, it would be a couple that were high school sweetheart age, which they were not, because they didn't have high school back then. It's because, because they've been together for so long, they still disagreed with stuff, but they answered the big tough questions, and that was the adult questions. They came to terms with religion, politics, finances, personal relationships, health, career. They came to terms with that stuff, and they were like, yep, these are the things that we find acceptable and not acceptable. And then with the rest of the stuff, it was like, just kind of, who cares? So, for example, she was extremely artistic. She liked doing arts and crafts kind of stuff, doing pastels and oils and just all kinds of stuff. He did none of it. You know what? He didn't care. It's like, go ahead, so what? It means absolutely nothing. He was more business oriented. He had his own little auto parts store in that small little town. She had nothing to do with it. She did not care. It just, at the end of the day, they would, whenever they would go to bed, it's like their bedroom was right next to the living room, and they had a couch in there that would fold out into a bed, and that's where I would sleep whenever we'd all come down there and visit them and stuff. And every single night, whenever they would get ready for bed, they would stay up for a good while, and they would just chat like crazy, and then they would go to bed. Maybe they'd read a book or something like that, and then that would be the end of it. And it was just nothing, because they already set up those boundaries, and they just, even with 70 years of marriage, it was like they didn't agree on everything. They didn't expect to agree on everything. I don't like that little unnecessary fluff. I don't agree with everything. Thanks a lot there, Captain Obvious. You've done nothing. It's just irking me right now, because I want to give people up-to-date, accurate information so that they can make the best choices possible for their lives. And it's just so much fluff that they have in all of this stuff. And Tim Pool actually coined it real well. Where it's, whenever it's like CNN and these news outlets, he called it novelization, where they want to write this big novel over something that should take like 2 seconds to go over. Anyways, waffling.
A couple officers actually came in. We're trying to figure out what caused this, and we think we may know. On the same day, January 6th.
And it sounds like it's legitimate with Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she was receiving other threats. So I don't know. She sounded like she was reasonable, but I don't pay attention to her.
Member of Congress. On the same day in Florida, the man with the iron front logo, I believe it's called, the Antifa symbol.
Oh, and here we go. This is just so stupid. It's like a man. It's like, yes, technically, I guess in a way, but he's like 22. It's like I'm literally old enough to be his father, and whenever I see this little punk, it's like, no, he's a child to me. And yes, technically, by law, he's a man. But I just don't see a man whenever I see this fool's picture at all. Whenever you say 22, it's like, no. It's like whenever I was 22, everyone else who was 22, they're dumb little snots. And I swear it's like they get dumber each and every single year.
Was arrested by police. They say he had a pipe bomb and a plan of action.
Okay. And so I have found the article. Let me pull that up. All right. And it's just because I don't want to hear his nonsense again. So basically what he's talking about is, again, with this Civil War nonsense that the U.S. is going to go into. And it's like, the hell it is. We don't live in caves. We're not going to do that stuff. Civil War happens. One side's going to have the military and the other side won't. And it's just going to be dealt with like that. Now, Al-Qaeda was able to fight off the military forces for a lot of reasons. One is that you had to get everything over there by going across an entire ocean. But everything is just right here. You don't have to deal with all this transportation issues, all this with logistics. He was a sleeper, man, 22. It's like, how long was he a part of a sleeper cell or any of this stuff? Since he was like 18? Is that what you're telling me? I mean, what are you talking about? He's only 22. He was caught carrying a pipe bomb. It's like, now you can still be a kid and do horrible things. To the January 6th anniversary rally in Florida, along with direct action checklist and combat helmet, had no criminal record. It's like, yeah, this is not a terrorist guy. This is some kind of idiot who has no idea what he's doing. And I bet whenever you were to look into his family life is just going to be trash. And, this is the first time he's jailed. He's got no problems that they talk about. And I think that if he did have issues, even if it was like being in suspension with school, I think they would have dug that up. I would think. No, maybe not. And they dance around it about how they don't call him Antifa. And Tim's like, no, he is. And it's like, yeah, good job. I appreciate that whenever he calls that out. And there's just no way. So look at this. This guy here does not look like some kind of fighter in a militia. He looks like another kid who just plays way too much on video games and just does nothing with himself. Same thing with all these people. These people do not look like that they're going to be leading anything and doing anything. They just look like a bunch of stupid, dumb losers. Every last one of them. Complete rejects that they don't have a clue about a damn thing. It's just like, I know exactly. So this is exactly what I see whenever I see Antifa and their nonsense right here. He just, this is a sum up in like, well, it's like one or two lines that he says here. You know, it's just.
I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it.
A dog chasing cars. Wouldn't know what to do with it whenever I caught it. If you were to, same thing with these people. What the hell are they going to do? Like, you know, they had that little Chaz zone thing set on up, and it was just like they accomplished nothing. It was just nothing productive came out of it. It was just a complete, I don't care, shithole. That's all that it was. It's not like these things were just like, oh, this is just paradise. This is exactly what we would love. And these things just started springing up all over the place. No, it wasn't. It was just absolute stupidity. Whenever I think of a terrorist cell, though, this is what I think of. These are people that they have organization, they're armed, they're willing to, you know, this guy's got some kind of wound going on there, you know, and, you know, this is what I see. It's not colored hair and tattoos and I'm a little unicorn. You know, it's like, no. And they're willing, you know, to get hurt and to get screwed up and to take a bunch of just really horrible conditions in order to make this happen. That's not these people. Not at all. But what? It's a lot. Same thing. Like he likes to also say that China is this big threat. You know, and so here from ChinaPower.crisis.org, I've known about this forever. You know why? Because people talk about China and Russia and, oh, it's going to happen. It's like, no, it's not. I made a video talking about how of all the carriers, the aircraft carriers that we have in the world, there's like 24 carriers with all the nations in all the world. And, you know, each country's got like one or two until you get to the U.S., and then there's 11 that we have. Hold on, I'll pull that up. So here we go. From wikipedia.org, list of all aircraft carriers, and we're just going to scroll down past this stuff to just get right to it. And so here are all the countries, and then in service, decommissioned, blah, 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 blah. Just in service. That's all we're going to do. And so many of them don't even have any, but maybe they did prior, and so they've been decommissioned. But right now, in service, the very first column, China has 2, France has 1, India 1, Italy 2. Italy has 2, really? I guess it depends on what size they are. They come in different sizes. Russia 1, Spain 1, Thailand 1, United Kingdom 2, United States 11. We have half in the entire world. It's like that with every other single piece of military equipment, especially the more advanced that you get. An aircraft carrier is extremely complicated and advanced. It's expensive, and the planes on them are, each one of those is extremely expensive and complicated. We dominate like mad. Here's another example, is that this is what the food situation is with China. China has become increasingly reliant on imports to account for changing consumption habits between 2003 and 2017. China's food imports grew from 14 billion to 104 billion, while food exports nearly tripled from 20 to 59 billion over the same period, and that they bring in much more food than they export. Why, you may ask? Because that stupid country has 1.3 billion people, basically 1.4 billion people. Let's change it from China to world. The entire world population is almost at 8 billion people. I mean, they just in and of themselves have nearly 1/8 of the entire global population. If they went to war, they would starve to death because they cannot take care of themselves just with food. It's like that with other resources too. That's the way that it is with so many countries today, is that there is no one location on the planet where you can get every single resource that the planet has to offer. So like, for example, one of the things that China has in great quantity is some kind of material used for computing, some kind of magnets or something. I don't remember what it is, but they have something there that they have in great abundance. And it's part of the reason why that part of the world is really pumping out all of these electronic components, because they can do it. And in order for them, if they were to go to war with the world, not only does that mean that their population is going to starve to death again, because this happened under Mao, it's like their revenue, the money that they bring in, would also substantially go down the drain like mad. And there are plenty of Chinese citizens over there where they're stinking filthy rich, and they have plenty of sway over the government, and they're going to go not just no, but oh hell no. It's like, I'm rich, I like being rich, I have a lot here, and I'm not going to risk it for stupid stuff. And they're going to say, you know what? Just like there are people that they have their own billionaires, and they have homes around the world, and they have businesses set up around the world. It's like Toyota is over here in the US. They have manufacturing plants over here. It's not the only one. There's just no way that these companies are just going to be okay with it. And these rich people, it's not like they just have all of this within their own country, because if that was the case, then they would be insanely powerful, rich, strong, and all this stuff, but they're not. And part of it is just because of their land. They have mountains all over the place, which is a big reason why they can't farm a lot of their land, because it's unfarmable. And they try to deal with it, and they fight it like crazy. But it's like, even with all of this, even though the reason why they're importing more food than ever is because their middle class is growing. And because it's growing, that means more people have more money so they can feed themselves, but they still have large amounts of Chinese citizens that they don't have enough food to eat. And they're still living in those little villages. And it's like, they would like to have more food. And it's like, as that population gets more money, they're going to want more food, which is going to mean more imports. And not just that, but everything else that the entire world has to offer. So no, I absolutely I wish he would just not talk about that stuff. Or no, I take that back. Let him talk about it until he's blue in the face, but separate the two. It's like, I wish he had something that was really centered around the news and all this stuff, and then he kind of would have his little weird, stupid, unjustified conspiracy theory nonsense going on somewhere else. I don't want to hear it, because it's just absolute trash. So I don't think he means it intentionally. Could be wrong about it, but it's just, I don't think so. I just think he's dumb whenever it comes to this stuff. And it's, he's been around the world. He's seen a few things, and I think that's kind of where he's drawing some of this from. And it's just like this isn't it. They're not it. They're not leading a damn thing. They can barely get out of their parents' bedroom. Or not bedroom, well, maybe something. Their basement. They can't get out of their parents' basement. And they're drinking their Starbucks Lottie stuff, and they're just, no, this is not it. These are not fighters. These are not people who can go out and just make things happen and just be able to live in horrible conditions. It's not it. No. These are people that if I ran into these people into the streets, I'll whoop every last one of them. I run into these guys into the street, it's like we got a fight going on, and I'm probably going to lose this one. But this is what they are. They're just dogs, just chasing their tail.
I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it.
I don't know how else to put it. So just whenever you hear any of this stuff, take it with a very small amount of salt. It's just, take it with a grain of salt. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. You cannot compare it to history. We are unlike what we've ever had before historically. Whether if you like it or not, we are absolutely 100% a global economy. And America is just rich, and so much happens here, and that the rest of the world is going to be like, let's see here. Am I going to side with rich, powerful America or poor, starving China? You don't have to have an 8-year PhD degree at some university to be able to figure that out. And since I'm limited on time today because of everything that's going on, I got plenty of other things going on in the background that messed up all my plans today whenever I got contacted this morning. I'm going to cut it short right here. So again, if you've learned something, then just give the video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to know more about what's going on, and it's like, yeah, I want a little dose of that reality, then subscribe. Catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.